Mr. County Executive, would you like to discuss the Emancipation Day
So
proclamation?
on November 1st, just a couple of days from now, in 1864, Maryland uh, redid its constitution and basically required the freedom of all those folks who had been held in bondage, which were the black slaves in the state. And we were the first state south
Yep.
of the Mason-Dixon line, which is, so we were one of the southern states. And it was done by decision of the government. It wasn't something that was forced. It was a change. It was voted on as a change in the Constitution. We are 156 years past that date. And I think, it's important to remind people that that act alone was not sufficient to guarantee equal rights and equal access. For more than 100 years after that date, the situation in the state and elsewhere in the country was pretty dire. And while we've made progress since then, we continue to struggle with full equality and full rights. So that was the beginning of a process. I'll just say it's 156 years is a long time to get to the right thing. And we just need to continue to do our part to complete that work. Do you want to make any comments?
I do. I was just gonna say, and when you started speaking, it made me remember that I could Google it this fast, but it made me remember my history as well. And of course, you said that Maryland was one of the southern states. Actually, Maryland was a border state, and I just looked this up to make certain that my memory was correct. Delaware, Maryland, Kentucky, and Missouri were slave states, but they didn't secede from the Union. So we were considered border states. First off, it's hard to believe that in the United States, at any time, that a person thought it was okay to own another person. But that's what we had. I mean, that is certainly what took place in Maryland, and it took place in the United States. And of course, we certainly are far from proud of that part of our history, but it's certainly part of our history, and we need to never forget what went on. And of course, the fact that there's today's proclamation on the Emancipation Proclamation certainly was the correct thing for Maryland to do, and the fact that Maryland was the first state south of the Mason-Dixon line to do it. Obviously, there is a sense of being correct on that as well. So anyhow, I do believe we have some people here to receive this proclamation. And I saw Jim Stowe was here. Or is there anyone here to receive the proclamation? Jim, I think you're, no, you're not. You're okay.
There I am.
There you are, yeah. And Tiffany, I thought I saw both of you. Did either one of you have any comments before the county executive and I read the proclamation?
Mr. President, the county executive has certainly shared the comments for our entire community. I would just simply add that the move that took place back in 1864, as he mentioned, was a move of the people. It was a vote of the people. It was so significant that was the case, that somehow or another they felt compelled to move beyond where they were to a brand new era in the state of Maryland. That continues, as you're well aware, in terms of our improvement. And I just want to underscore what the county executive has said relative that we have done and made some enormous progress, but we've got much, much, much work to do to be the kind of county that we think we need to be here for all of our residents, from wherever they may come from across the world, and for those of us who've been native to this particular state. Lastly, we've got some great things that are going on throughout this weekend. There is a press release that has been issued that provides a link to our residents as to how they can participate, most of which are virtual, of course, during this COVID-19 kind of environment. But there are some that are, in fact, able to be done in person with all of the various social distancing requirements in place. So we would, again, encourage persons to go to our website, the county's website, and to see that press release, and to be able then to go to the link that provides, again, the various descriptions and information about activities going on throughout the weekend, as a matter of fact. And so hopefully the weather will hold out, that those who do have outdoor opportunities to be able to do that, they can connect with those, and those who are doing it virtually, of course, will have that opportunity as well. So we could thank you all very much, County Executive, for your leadership in this area, and also to our Council President and all Council members for your support.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ward.
Just very briefly, that was the beginning of justice and freedom for enslaved Africans in Maryland. And I think 100+ years later, the Montgomery County is continuing to seek that justice and equity for those enslaved persons and their descendants with our racial equity work. So I'm proud to do that here with this county council that has been so supportive, and with the county executive who's really been supportive of this work as well. So we continue to move forward.
Well, to both you, Mr. Stowe, and to Reverend Stowe, and to Ms. Ward, thank you for very much for all that you do for all of Montgomery County. We appreciate all of your work and all the people whose lives you have touched and are continuing to touch, and all the lives that you're continuing to save. So with that, Mr. County Executive, if you would please be so kind as to begin reading the proclamation.
All right. Whereas on November 1st, 1864, the state of Maryland penned a new state constitution, marking one of the most pivotal days in the history of the state. And
whereas Maryland's new constitution called for the freedom of all of those held in bondage within its boundaries, and
whereas Maryland was the first state south of the Mason-Dixon line to abolish slavery by vote of the people and not by executive decision, legislative act, or military power. And
whereas on May 15, 2013, Governor Martin O'Malley signed a measure making November 1st, Emancipation Day, to officially recognize the day to celebrate the freeing of slaves in Maryland. And
whereas this year represents the 156th anniversary of this landmark event in our state's history and is commemorated in Montgomery County with activities about sharing the history of slavery in the state with live demonstrations, guided tours of sites of historical significance, and other educational activities.
And now, therefore, do we, Mark Elrich as County Executive and Sidney Katz as County Council President of Montgomery County, Maryland, do hereby proclaim Sunday, November 1st, 2020 as Emancipation Day in Montgomery County, Maryland, and encourage all residents to participate in educational activities to help in their understanding and the appreciations of the significance of this day in our history. It's signed today by both County Executive Elrich and myself. Thank you very, very much.